Welcome to Canine 101. This slideshow is used for our puppy class orientation, but will also have helpful tips if you have adult dogs at home with your puppy. My name is Peyton Nichols. I'm a registered veterinary technician since 2006, puppy class instructor since 2007. I completed Purdue University's Dogs and Cats Behavior course and Dogs course. These unfortunately are no longer available, but were very helpful in understanding dog and cat behavior. I am an attendee of continuing education conferences, mostly focused on behavior, and I'm fear-free and low-stress handling certified, which helps to keep animals happier at the veterinary clinic. Puppy Preschool. These classes are held Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. in the lobby at Avery Animal Hospital for puppies 7 to 16 weeks of age. It's open enrollment, so on any given night we've got puppies starting and then puppies finishing and then anywhere in between. There's 4 classes. They don't need to be consecutive, 1 hour each. We go over exploration, problem prevention, parenting tips, socialization with people, handling other puppies, sights, sounds, etc. A fun association with Avery Animal Hospital. So if you bring your puppy here for their veterinary care, this is a way to keep the association with the hospital as happy and not just getting exams and vaccines. And then we do supervised play at the beginning and the end of class. Requirements for classes. Standard leather or nylon leash. No retractable leashes, please. Leather or nylon collar, head collar, or harness. No choke chains or prong collars. 2 cups of 2 different types in separate containers of pea-sized chewy treats, preferably in a treat bag worn on your body or plastic container with a lid. No plastic sandwich bags, as these can sometimes become choking hazards if they're able to get them during class. We need a proof of distemper vaccine administered by a veterinarian 7 days prior to class, proof of Bordetella, which is the kennel cough vaccine, 4 to 7 days prior to class, and no signs of illness. If your puppy is doing any of these, vomiting, diarrhea, cough, sneeze, call the clinic and ask them if they are still okay to come to class. In these classes, we have supervised off-leash play. This is where puppies learn how to interact positively with other puppies. They come from litters and learn how to play with their siblings, but we want to make sure that they are able to play with anybody they come up against. In this play time, there will be different play styles, which we will go over here in a minute. Typical play styles of puppies in class are the easygoing puppies, timid, or overstimulated. These are the puppies that are kind of like the class clown. Don't worry if your puppy is timid or overstimulated. They can still learn how to play well with others, or at least learn how to calmly watch as everybody else is playing. It's very important to look into the breed characteristics of the puppy that you have chosen. By doing this, you'll give yourself a head start on how to work with things as your puppy ages that they might be genetically predisposed to doing. Things like terriers like to dig. So you could teach them in spaces where it's appropriate to dig, or you could learn how to work with them on other behaviors to curb the digging altogether. Developmental stages for your puppy. Basic survival needs is birth to 5 weeks. This is where they're just worried about where food and warmth come from. Socialization stage, which is a stage we work on in puppy classes, is 5 to 14 weeks. During this stage, they're little sponges. They're taking in everything that they're experiencing and then filing it away for later. We want to make sure those files are heavier on the good side than the bad. Bad things happen, we work them through it. Juvenile stage is 14 weeks to 6 months, and then adolescent stage is 6 months to 2 to 3 years. During this time frame, they can revert a little bit on things that they had already known or been comfortable with in the past, but if you just work them through it like you did when they were younger, you'll have no problem. It only lasts about a couple weeks. The socialization stage is the stage that we work with in puppy classes. This is a critical developmental period during which all life experiences will shape a puppy's personality. It's an opportunity to prevent future behavior problems, and a lack of socialization during this time frame often displays the same as a past traumatic experience. An example of this is if you meet an adult dog and you raise your hand really quickly, if they were to cower, it doesn't necessarily mean that they were abused. It may mean just they've never seen somebody's hand move up really quickly. Exposure for our puppies. You cannot over-socialize. Ensure that your puppy has at least 1 to 2 new positive experiences every day. An example of this could be as simple as dropping a spoon on the floor and giving your puppy a treat for hearing the noise. Should be fun and positive, which will be your treats, playtime, or even a hi, happy voice. Closely supervise all interactions with your puppy. Learn your puppy's body language, which we'll go over in the next slides. Be cautious with unknown dogs and children. Not all dogs are appreciative of our puppies, and children sometimes can take it too far and scare the puppies. This little girl is showing us signs that she's afraid of something. It might be as simple as bubbles being blown through the air, but by learning the body posture here, we can recognize when our puppies are afraid of something, and that gives us the cue that lets us know we need to work towards getting them comfortable with something that might be as silly as those bubbles. Signs of emotional conflict. These are signs your puppy's going to show you that maybe means they're not afraid of something just yet, but they're trying to figure out how to handle it. Things like turning their head away from you if you're calling their name or asking them to do something. Yawning, that's going to be a big over-exaggerated yawn when you know they're not tired. Wet dog shake, we see this a lot in playtime where two puppies are playing really well. One maybe bites the other one too hard and they go away from each other, shake off the stress, and they go back to play. And then decreased appetite, if your puppy ever doesn't want to eat in a situation, that's telling you that something about it is too intense or maybe getting into the scary realm. So how do we make the scary thing not so scary once we've recognized those body signals our puppy is trying to show us that they're nervous or fearful of something? Determine what about the person, object, or even situation scares your puppy. So that would be distance, loudness, speed maybe of something going by, the size of it, and then modify the environment to help with that. Use treats, treats, treats. These are small, pea-sized, high value to your puppy treats to get them to work towards the goal of being comfortable. This is kind of like you getting money to go to work. Do not coddle your puppy. If your puppy is nervous about something, resist the urge to pick them up and say, oh, I know that was scary. All that does is teach them to not handle things on their own to become a confident puppy, but just to run to you for help. In turn, don't force them up to the scary thing. So for example, in this picture, you've got a lady that's working on her dog with the stairs. So if you were to drag the puppy by the collar down the stairs, you're forcing them into a situation that's scary. It's not going to show them that they're going to make it and they'll be okay. It might amplify their fear of the stairs, and they will probably not want to use those in the future. You want to progress slowly. So here she's got treats for every step the puppy's going down. And then once you get your puppy to doing, let's say, the stairs, like in this situation, you want to make sure you practice it again. Make sure that they're seeing this thing on a regular basis to make sure that they are still okay with that situation. Now let's look at all of kind of those pieces and parts together of body language that our puppy's trying to show us. Here we have a relaxed dog, loose ears, a little bit of panting, just kind of hanging out like loose body, and the tail's down in a normal position. This is a dog that's on alert. He's assessing a situation to see what he needs to do next. He's got uptight ears, more focused eyes. The mouth is now closed. There's no more panting. A rigid body and an up tail. This is our fearful puppy. Notice the tight, tucked in, hunched down body, head lowered, ears pinned back, got a low tail or sometimes really tucked in. Here we have the final sign of submission or fearful. Your puppy after the last slide might then slump down onto the ground like this, showing its belly. We as humans think this is cute and say, oh, do you want a belly rub? But initially, this is a sign your puppy's telling you that they're really trying to not be confrontational. So we need to back up, encourage them to come to us, and then try to pet them when they're up standing. Another thing you might see in this position is urinations. Sometimes they can express their bladder if they're really fearful. There are two types of aggressive body stances in our dog. This one is the defensive aggression. This dog is still very scared, like the fearful dog in the previous slides. Notice the hunched down body and the tail tucked, but now there's some hair raising and maybe some slight teeth showing. There may be a growl in this body stance, and then if all that's not listened to by the scary thing, it might also come out with a snap, a bite. We want our puppies to never get to this, so we want to learn their previous body languages to get them comfortable and figure out what we can do to help them so they don't feel like they need to get to this position and protecting themselves. And finally, we have the offensive aggression dog. This dog means business. He's no longer scared. He's going to take care of things. Moving forward, stiff body, ears up, tail up but kind of out to the side, definitely not wagging. And then the lips are going to be curled up just over those front teeth. Here we have communication between dogs. The top left is two dogs doing a proper greeting, which is nose to hiney. This is the way they get the most information about each other, and usually after this, play ensues, or they just walk around and hang out like buddies. The top right is the most beautiful sign. This is the play bow. This is the dog's way of saying, hey, I'm about to be goofy, let's play. And then the bottom is an adult dog being sniffed in the face by a puppy. If these were two adult dogs, this would not usually go over well, or there'd be a lot of stiff body language. But with puppies, they don't know this yet. So usually the adult dogs don't go straight to correcting the puppy, but they might do a little facial lip-flipping or something like that to show the puppy that this is not appropriate. If the puppy listens, they go on and they can be friends then. Introduction to training. The first type, which is the one that I use in class, is positive reinforcement training. This type of training is fun for the dog and the trainer. It is also safe. Use things like clickers, lures, treat rewards, praise, things like that. If you get to make a mistake, that's okay. You can laugh it off. Your dog still gets a reward. You reset, try again. If the dog makes a mistake, that's okay. You reset, go to something easier, and then build back up to what you were trying for. The other type of training that's out there is punishment and force-based training. These types of training may be tolerated by the dog, but it's not enjoyable for the dog. Neither is it usually enjoyable for the person. It also can potentially be dangerous for the dog and the person. Examples here is choke or prong collars, shock collars, leash corrections, physical force, things like that. On the previous slide, I mentioned about clicker training in the positive reinforcement method of training. A clicker is a marker to let the pet know when they did the right behavior. How they know that's a good thing is you partner a click with a treat. Click, treat, click, treat, click, treat. Dogs start thinking it's a game. It's fun for them. It's fun for you. It's not only a way for humans to communicate with dogs, but also any other creature about you can think of. Fun side note, you can go to YouTube and type in clicker training and any animal. There's probably a video out there of somebody training an animal to do a specific behavior. Think of clicker training like taking a photo. When you see something you like, you push the button and then you give them a treat afterwards. Puppy dog parent responsibilities. Forget the alpha nonsense. Your dog is not trying to dominate you. Dogs do whatever works for them in the moment, and as parents, we need to teach them to repeat the good things that work for them, but also align with what we want them to do. By doing this, you want to reward the behavior as soon as possible and every time. By doing this, they'll want to repeat the good behaviors because that gets them more rewards. Don't waste your time so much telling them what not to do, because by saying no, no, no all the time, you're not telling them what is appropriate. Focus more of your time telling them what you like. And get help early if problems arise. You don't want to let them continue a bad behavior because after so long, it might become a regularly practiced behavior that's going to be more challenging to work on in the future.
To prevent or manage an environment for your dog during if instincts are driving a certain behavior that you don't like. Things like the example here is getting into the garbage. There's lots of good smells there. So one thing you can do, like on the right-hand picture, is put a lid on it, or another option is to put it under a cabinet so that your dog can no longer get into the trash. Ignoring the behavior. The example here is jumping up. This dog is jumping up to try to get the woman's attention. If she does not give it any attention, not saying no jump, not pushing it away, not petting it, any of those things, if she just stands there and acts like the puppy does not exist, eventually the puppy will get down. Once they get down to all four on the floor, you give it attention. If it jumps back up, you jump back up to this position. With puppies, this usually breaks pretty quick, but this is definitely one as they get older and they're able to do it for a long time, it takes longer for them to stop doing. Interrupt and substitute. If the behavior is self-rewarding, so like with our puppies chewing on absolutely everything, you want to interrupt the behavior, teach an alternate or appropriate behavior like chewing on a bone instead of my table leg, and then reward that good behavior. So this would be like, oh no, not my table leg. Here, come play with your toy. Put it in their mouth. You're going to have to actually wiggle it in there. Play with them a little bit. The play becomes the reward. You can also put treats around it to be a backup reward when they're doing the right thing. But remember, reward when you see them chewing on the right things as often as you can. Example problem solving with play biting. This is what our puppies do all the time, and it's very painful and very annoying. Prevent and manage by not using your hands or clothing as toys. If you bounce your hands around because it's cute and the puppy chases it, you're teaching your puppy that your hands are the toys. Supervise children in this situation. The next one is interrupt and replace. So you're going to offer an appropriate chew toy, take your hand away, put the chew toy in there, and then make sure not to put your hand back down there unless you're going to play tug with them. Ignore the biting. Do not continue play. Tuck your hands in. You might have to stand up, walk away. If the puppy then goes to biting your ankles, you can do a timeout. So this is just a momentary, it's kind of like ignore, but with protection of a gate or a crate. Do not punish them. You want to act like they don't exist. Put them in there, walk away. When they're quiet, go in and let them out. Exercise is going to be critical for your pet's well-being as well as your mental well-being. It should happen several times a day to prevent behavior problems. Examples of this are at least 2 10-minute walks off your property, even if you have a fenced-in yard, so they can get different sights and smells. Supervised play if you can coordinate it, but please do not take your puppy to a dog park until they're 6 months of age or older. This is for behavior reasons, health reasons, parasite reasons, and then use a puzzle food dispensing toy like a Kong or a slow feeding bowl. Feeding your puppy out of a bowl is a lot of missed opportunities to distract them. You can even do things like throwing piece by piece of their food down a hallway. They get real excited to play with you, and then you've distracted them and gotten in a lot of exercise. And then train different cues like sit, down, leave it, things like that. Car travel. Dog seat belts are recommended or a crate. Safer for you, safer for them, less distracting while you're driving, and the back seat is going to be the best spot for that. You did it! Thank you very much for watching this video, and I look forward to meeting you and your puppy. Please email me if you have any questions or are interested in starting classes. If your puppy is between 8 and 16 weeks of age and you want to do class, please include in your email your first and last name, your puppy's name, your puppy's birthday, and what breed they are. Also the date of their last Bordetella and distemper vaccination to averypuppyclass@gmail.com. I am a full-time veterinary technician outside of teaching these classes, and I try to do my best to respond to emails in a timely fashion, but please allow a couple days for the response. Most of the times I can get it, though, in the same day. Thank you again.